Hi everyone, let's talk about Aeon's End War Eternal, which is a standalone expansion for Aeon's End. Now, back in January, I think it was a 2016 game, but I think it came out a little bit late in England. Right at the beginning of the year, we got this, and I really enjoyed it. But I remembered that I enjoyed it, but it wasn't until we got it out again because like happens to a lot of people that make videos, I play the game and then I make the video, and then in a lot of cases the game gets put on a shelf and I think back fondly but don't really get much chance to revisit the games. Because of War Eternal, I got to go back to Aeon's End and was reminded that it wasn't just a game that I remembered fondly. This is a really great deck builder. It's such a simple thing to keep going on about, but I love the fact that you aren't shuffling your decks in this. It is such a small change, but it makes such a big difference. Where you can never completely predict, in 6 turns time I'm going to draw this thing, but if your draw pile is empty, you can see what you've got in your hand, you can think how many cards am I keeping, and you can see what's on the bottom of your discard pile and see what is coming, and really give you some control over these things. And the cooperation as well between the special powers that you have and some of the cards that you can focus other people's breaches, or maybe I can set something off that will let you set all of your spells off early and let you put them back into your hands. It's just such a fantastic deck builder that I remembered liking it, but playing it again, it's just it's such a fantastic deck builder, and I'd really recommend it. And you can go watch the playthrough to actually see me play a game of it rather than talk about what's new here. War Eternal, it is being a standalone expansion. It's not trying to revolutionize the game or anything, but I will say with the art, if you interested in seeing the difference between the art of the first edition Aeon's End and then the War Eternal art style, made them go back and do an update pack, or I think if you buy the second edition of Aeon's End now, it will have all of the fancy new art. As I said in the comparison video, I never really found it a problem in the first edition of Aeon's End. I have criticised games since. I would probably criticise Aeon's End now for, it could look better. But when you actually see the things side by side, which again, you can go to that video and see the comparison of them. When you see them side by side, it is just night and day. And the art is much more of a focus in the new edition. It's so much cleaner. It's just fantastic to look at in comparison to the other one. And nothing takes away from the game. If you get a first edition of Aeon's End, it's perfectly playable and fantastic, as I've been saying, but just this new art style does make such a big difference. And I would like to say that it wouldn't affect me at all, but when I did see the Kickstarter get announced, it's one of those situations where I'm not going to get all angry about it. I've got a perfectly fantastic playable game, but at the back of my mind I'm just like, oh, I wish I had that new edition. But thankfully, there's an update pack and you can get all of that stuff one way or another. I picked them up at S, and I picked up the update pack box. It was €10 just to get a whole new set of cards. But anyway, let's talk about the thing. So yeah, it's got the new art style. It's got new bosses, which, as with the 4 original ones from Aeon's End, they all played very differently. And these do too. The one that will just has nemesis tokens and the cards keep tempting you to take them away. It usually gives you choices, but you will lose if you do that. The one that doesn't actually have any health and he just has a deck of acolytes and you want to run them through. There's loads of different things. I really like, is it Desmodea, the new breach mage that destroys people's breaches, but gives them a more powerful one back and lets them charge spells to them. The one that can take cards from other people's discard piles. There are so many. It's as I have said with countless expansions, I think it's not going to change your mind about the game whatsoever, but it's a standalone expansion is nice because this can be your entry point if you want, and you can be sure that you'll be getting the new art and stuff because there's only one edition of this. Or the other one can be your entry point, the regular Aeon's End. They're both fantastic, and if you get the two together, you have got this weighs a lot already, and it's only one expansion's worth of stuff. I hope they keep going with this, and they have got, is it 3 now small box expansions? I haven't got any of them. I really want to get hold of them now, just because playing it again has reminded me how much I like it. And I think this, if you enjoyed the first edition at all, this is more of the same. Which, not to say that it doesn't come up with original twists and differences, because it does. It's got a lot in there, but it is it would require you to be interested in the game itself. There's not such a huge feature in this, I don't think, that is going to suddenly make you do a U-turn if you didn't like the idea of the original. But for people like me that really, really enjoyed it, this is just more, and just combining them. I haven't played any of it combined yet. I just wanted to play with the new stuff to get a feel for that. But when we can start combining all of this stuff, it's just going to be fantastic and get some great variety. Because that's what, whenever, you know, with Mystic Vale, when you play that and you're like, oh, this is great, but it's a bit limited. There was a lot in the base box for Aeon's End, I'll say. But once it gets to, you know, Dominion at this point, we haven't even got all of the expansion, and that's spread across multiple enormously heavy boxes. I would love for all of the deck builders that I enjoy to get to that point eventually. But yeah, for now, I just hope they keep coming up with Aeon's End stuff, because I think it's a really fantastic game. But you can go and check out my overview of what's new here, or the playthrough of the original version, or a comparison of the different art styles. Well, not art styles, the editions, you know, the graphic design. But anyway, I think that's enough talking now. That's Aeon's End War Eternal. Bye.